A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn, every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. Just wanted to get one or two book reviews in, so I'm going to start off with this video, which this is this was, I think, either my first or second, actually it might be my second, Big Book Summer completed read. So this is Footsteps in the Dark. Actually, this might be my second one. I think my first one was a different Georgette Hare. I think that my first one that I did was, No Wind of Blame. So I did No Wind of Blame for my first Big Book Summer completed read. This is my second one. So this is Georgette Hare's Footsteps in the Dark. I do actually have a book journal spread for it, because I've been trying to catch up on my book journal, even though I am still behind. Oh no, that's still, I thought I'd done this one. I hadn't done this one yet. I'd done the one for No Wind of Blame. That journal spread. Well, there's a book journal spread for No Wind of Blame if anyone's interested in that one, but that was the last one I did. I already talked about this book. This one was good. But, Footsteps in the Dark, I'm still actively working on this one. I think I've cut out, or started the cutouts for this, for the book journal spread. Started cutting out covers and things like that, but I'm not at that point yet. I think I need to complete one other book journal spread before I continue on to this one. So let me actually move this out of my way. I'll work on that later. So, Footsteps in the Dark, I do have notes I want to keep near me because I'm trying to do a better job of keeping notes. Just I remember, at the time, talked about that one already. So this book is, there it is. I started this one on May 30th, and I finished it on the 4th of June. So I think this is this the 4th or 5th Georgette Hare that I've read? I started with Who Shoots a Butler? Or no, it's not Who Shoots a Butler. Why Shoot a Butler? Then it was, I think, Death in the Stalks. Behold, Here's Poison. I think the Christmas one then I did. It's Envious Casca. And then I had No Wind of Blame. So Footsteps in the Dark, I think, is my 6th Georgette Hare. Wow, I hadn't realized how many I read. This one feels very different than the last one that I read. So the last one I read, No Wind of Blame, is your typical country house type of mystery. It feels like a classic Agatha Christie, probably why I really enjoyed that one so much. Now, I really enjoyed this one too, but this one feels different. Even though it technically takes place in a country house, it makes me think more, it's almost Hitchcockian in ways. Kind of the way in that the Wheel Spins, aka The Lady Vanishes by Ethelena White was. So it's got a lot of that feeling of almost paranoia, feeling like everyone might know. Now, I don't know that the characters feel this as strongly as I did as a reader, but the feeling that everybody else is in on it, that everyone else has an idea of what's going on, and you your main characters don't. Now, you are dealing with more than one main character in this one. You have a family. You've got 2 sisters, a brother, one of the sisters' husbands, because only one of the sisters is married, and a maiden aunt, and a couple of servants. So that is your main cast, but mostly, even though the aunt is very much present, I would argue that your main focus cast are the young people. So that would be Peter, let's see, Charles, Celia, and what is the name of the other sister? Margaret. Now, I don't know that, I can't remember if Margaret goes by Peggy or not, but that is your main cast. I must admit, I do enjoy Charles's personality. He's a bit acerbic, but his kind of like dry and not quite, he's almost a cranky old man in a young man's body. But he's the first one to really be like believing that there is something going on behind the scenes, and maybe somebody doesn't want them there. What happens is the siblings inherit this old country house, this mansion essentially, from kind of a from a family member, from an uncle who is a bit odd, and it hasn't been lived in forever, but the girls fell in love with the house and they really wanted it. Charles is probably the least pleased by it when he comes. Peter's like, oh, come on, old man, it'll be fine. There's a cool, pub down the road that, it'll be awesome. So they decided to spend the summer there. Charles, who is a lawyer, was kind of hoping to have, a bit more of a break in a place that wasn't quite so... The house doesn't live up to what he felt he was sold by by his wife and his siblings-in-law. He was under the impression maybe that it was a bit more put together, and he's not terribly thrilled about spending, their vacation there, kind of out in the boondocks. Shortly upon arriving, they're told that the place is haunted. And, of course, the young people are a mixture of either, thrilled or don't believe it, in the case of Celia, or none of them really believe it. Or, in Charles's case, is like, oh, okay, fine, whatever, of course. But the servants at least their male servant, is kind of spooked. And they start to get the impression that maybe that's what people want them to be, or something. None of them really believe for any consistent period of time that the place is actually haunted. But a couple of really creepy things do happen, and at one point the aunt is made to believe, and comes to seriously believe, that the place is truly haunted. Now, they do discover early on that there's a priest hole, and I had to laugh when the aunt ended up using Lysol spray, or I guess it wasn't she said, I guess they had a powder version of it at that point. She used that, sprinkled Lysol in there, which cracked me up because we have a joke in our family where mom and that whole side of the family, that is their reaction to anything is spray Lysol on it. And I can't stand this stuff. It makes me I feel like I can feel it in my throat. It's nasty. And my dad and I are constantly making fun of my mom for her Lysoling everything. So when I saw that, I'm like, Mom, this is you in a murder mystery. You're going to be Lysoling the heck out of the place. So it cracked me up. And I didn't realize I mean, I should have realized because Lysol was named after Joseph Leister, who I had read a book about, a year or two ago. It was named after him, and, with his attempts to make everything, safer, more antiseptic. But I, for some reason, didn't associate Lysol with quite so early on. And this book came out in 1932. So for some reason I didn't think of Lysol being quite that early an invention, but obviously it was. Anyway, yeah, this mystery gives me a lot more of a Hitchcock feel, and actually at one point, it even almost makes me feel, by the time you start getting some resolution, I almost feel like I'm reading a Hardy Boys Nancy Drew type mystery with the way some of the things are coming together. And that's not a slam, because even though I don't really read Hardy Boys or Nancy Drew anymore, it's not like talking that she's writing for a younger audience. Like, it feels like maybe it doesn't feel like the writing style is necessarily at a younger level. It just feels that some of the way the plot comes together feels like some of the things that you might have seen in a Nancy Drew or a Hardy Boys mystery, and I really can't completely put my finger on why I got that feeling by the end of the book, where it almost felt like that kind of mystery, like something you could have seen in any of those older Nancy Drews are the ones that are coming to my mind more right now, but feels like something that could have been in one of those mysteries. I really enjoyed the main cast of characters in this book. It's quite a thick book. It's, even if you don't include the 3 chapters, well, you are barely in that 400 range, but you are in the 400 page range. You also get a little excerpt of Death in the Stocks, which I've already read, but this just barely slides in there for Big Book Summer. This book, it's a lot more of a, yes, there's a mystery, yes, there's murder, but a lot of it feels like it's more like a psychological type game going on, which I think is what makes me feel like it's a Hitchcock type story, why it feels more like The Wheel Spins / The Lady Vanishes, because the characters after a while are like, okay, someone is trying to scare us away. So this feels like there is a concerted effort to, get rid of us, and we're not sure why, and we're definitely not going anywhere just because someone wants to scare us. And that's why Charles and Peter start wanting to investigate it, even if they are, they're willing to drive the girls back to town, but they want to stay on, particularly Charles, because he's like, I'll be darned if I'll be, scared off by somebody. But yeah, so I feel that the characters are likable. There is a love interest that I think they handle. So sometimes with Georgia Hare's love interest in the past, there's been issues where usually it's the male one is quite unlikable. And like the one that I think was the worst for that, in my opinion, was Behold, Here's Poison. I really didn't care for the love interest / detective type character. Not truly detective, because he was an amateur. Ended up being an amateur who was the main suspect for a while. There, I gave away that one, I guess. Oops, sorry. But Behold, Here's Poison, I had an issue with that. I felt that romance felt because I didn't feel like it was well set up enough for that particular story. And I felt that particular story, they didn't really do a good job. She didn't really do a great job of making him seem like someone other character would like. You kind of understood it, but you didn't really. this case where you have a love interest that might seem unlikable at points, there is, by the time you reach the end of the book, it makes sense. And you're willing to forgive maybe behaviors that might have seemed unlikable or suspicious earlier because of what comes out about that character later. So I appreciated that, and I liked that a lot better. Just trying to check and see, because I have notes here, but I also want to make sure I don't give away too much. I felt that if I'm going to give this my normal golden age mystery treatment, where I'm like, does it give me enough clues? I do feel like it gives you enough clues. I think that Georgia Hare set up this mystery well. And this is in spite of it not being your typical, this is more of the suspense type mystery that I see associated with Hitchcock. So Lady Vanishes / I think it's what, The Wheel Spins? Yeah, The Wheel Spins. That kind of mystery. So I don't always hold my suspense mysteries to quite the same level of scrutiny because it's a slightly different kind of mystery. I don't always expect the same level of fair play, but I appreciate that she did do the fair play here in spite of it being more of a Lady Vanishes / The Wheel Spins type mystery. I felt that we were given clues throughout, and when you go back and look, I think that on a reread, I think that those breadcrumbs she, sprinkled along the way, that they will hold up well to a reread, that I won't feel like, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. No, I'll feel, upon a reread, I think I'll appreciate even more that she seeded these things within. So I did appreciate that. And actually, I did have my suspicions that of who done it, and that there was a conspiracy. So when in the end everything's revealed, even if I didn't have everything 100% right, I felt quite satisfied by the end because it made sense to me. She set it up well. So this one, I think I ended up rating this one right underneath No Wind to Blame for my favorite Georgia Hares. Right in my top 3 are probably No Wind to Blame, the Christmas one, so Envious Casca, and Footsteps in the Dark. I really have enjoyed those 3 mysteries. Those are my favorites so far, I believe, of the ones that I've read of hers. So actually, I think those are the last 3 that I have read too, which is actually a pretty cool experience to have the most recent ones that you've read of her works actually be your favorite ones. I don't think I read one between No Wind to Blame and Envious Casca. I think that those 2 were back to back. But this is a standalone. So unlike Envious Casca and No Wind to Blame, which are both Inspector Hemingway mysteries, and I like Inspector Hemingway, but this was a standalone. So I most likely will never see these characters again. I thoroughly enjoyed spending time with them. I look forward to rereading this again in the future. As usual, I love the covers for this particular collection of Georgia Hare books. All of her mysteries I own in this Country House collection, because the only one I don't have in this collection is Envious Casca because it wasn't available in this collection, which annoyed the heck out of me. But I love this collection. It's a pretty collection. The print is lovely. It feels beautiful in the hand. And it's always a joy to read one of her books in this collection, regardless as to where I end up rating it among her other books, just because it's a nice tactile experience. And also a nice experience on the eyes because the spacing and the text is so nice. So I guess that's it for this particular book. I really enjoyed the characters. I really enjoyed the way that the plot was put together. I'm sure that I'll enjoy it even more upon reread. This was a good mystery. Not exactly the same as your typical country house, the way that Know When to Blame is, which is why Know When to Blame is a little bit higher for me, just because I like that classic country house mystery. But this is quite high for me because I thought it was good. A good mystery that was well put together with enjoyable characters that I actually liked. My whole group of heroes, which is not a guarantee in a Georgia Hare mystery. I think the first few mysteries of hers that I read, I had trouble finding a character that I liked. So it wasn't until I think Envious Casca that I had more than like one character. Actually, even Envious Casca, I didn't have more than one character that I liked. It wasn't until Know When to Blame that I was given like several characters that I liked. And then this is the first one where I've been like, no, I like all 4 of my main characters a lot. So that was a nice change, because usually I struggle a little bit to find a character of hers that I like, because some of them are quite unlikable. And that's not because she doesn't know how to write a likable character. It's because sometimes, when you're dealing with a murder mystery, in order to have someone be easy suspect, you need to have, your suspects are not always going to be particularly likable. And she's good at writing unlikable characters. And making them believable. People aren't always likable under stressful situations. But I had 4 characters to be attached to in this that I really liked, and that was nice. So yes, I highly recommend Footsteps in the Dark. If you have not yet read a Georgia Hare, this is actually potentially a good place to start because it is a standalone. So it starts off strong with likable characters with a good plot. And I think that, if someone is wanting to dip their feet into a Golden Age mystery, but maybe don't want to, deal with a serious detective, this might be a good place to start as a standalone mystery. Anyway, that's it for me for Georgia Hare, Footsteps in the Dark. Hope that you feel like checking this out, and have a wonderful day. God bless. Bye.
Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.